when he's in the Nen Mansion, he can connect a door to any portal in any location. Hey, what's up everybody? It's LeeLos, and today we're talking about why Nove is underrated. Stay steady in pursuit of your dreams and goals. You're born to win, you're made for greatness, and I definitely believe in you guys. Keep up the great work each and every day. So let's get started with talking about Nove. So let's go ahead and be honest about it. Nove's performance in the palace invasion was pretty disappointing. He gets his spirit broken just by looking at Pouf's End. He doesn't even make physical contact with it. He's standing in front of it, looks at it, and that's enough to break his spirit pretty much entirely. This is really bad, especially when you consider how he was introduced into the Chimera Ant arc. When he was first introduced, he was almost making fun of Killua after Killua was discouraged from seeing Pito's strength. The big difference is Killua actually made physical contact with Pito's aura. Meanwhile, Nove was a distance away just looking at Pouf's End, and it shook him worse than Killua was shook. So overall, it makes Nove look really bad, especially when you consider that the remaining members of the hunters that go into the palace invasion all face this aura up close, and they're still brave enough to continue fighting. He gets courage diffed by pretty much every one of the palace hunters, which is kind of crazy. All that being said, something that's very underrated about Nove is how powerful his Hatsu ability is. In complete honesty, he has one of the coolest Hatsu abilities in the entire series, and you could make an argument that he might actually have one of the most powerful Hatsu abilities in the entire series as well. Nove's Hatsu ability is called Fourth Dimensional Mansion Hide and Seek, and it's a teleportation ability. So right away, the name on its own is just crazy. Fourth Dimensional Mansion, that's very sick. So the way the ability works is when Nove places his hand on a wall or on the ground, he creates a portal, and that portal leads to a Nen dimension. And that Nen dimension is actually a Nen mansion with multiple floors to it. One of the floors he actually uses for storage, and the floors have different sizes to them as well. The first floor of the mansion is stated to be the biggest of all the floors, and that was the floor that Netero was fighting a bunch of Chimera Ants on. Nove holds a master key to the mansion, so Nove, when he's in the Nen Mansion, he can connect a door to any portal in any location. And we actually see him doing this all throughout the arc. He's using his Hatsu ability to phase into the mansion and then reappear in a completely different location. So the limitations to his Hatsu ability are not word for word stated, but a few of his actions throughout the arc imply what the limitations are. For example, it seems that he has to actually create a portal by placing his hand on a location first. He has to do that before he can teleport to it. This is shown by him risking his life to get to the staircase of the palace. He does this so that he can place a portal down for the palace hunters to arrive later, and they actually use this portal at the very start of the mission. If Nove could actually just teleport anywhere, then him creating a portal like this wouldn't really make a lot of sense. He would just teleport them to the staircase without him making a portal. This scene somewhat implies he has to physically create a portal first by placing his hand on a location before he can teleport through it. I mean, you could make an argument that maybe that limitation only applies to when he's teleporting other people. Maybe Nove really can just teleport anywhere with this ability, and he was choosing not to so that he could use Zetsu and avoid detection from any of the Chimera Ants. So I suppose it's a debatable thing. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, but I lean towards thinking that is one of the limitations of the ability. Something that's more vague though, is there a limit to how many portals he can place at one time? Can he literally have like hundreds of portals around the world and just teleport to different locations whenever he wants to all around the world? Like, is there a limit to the number, and is there a limit to the range, right? Those are two things that are really not stated in the manga. So let me know what you think. Can he only teleport within a specific range, or is there really just no limit to the range and no limit to the number of portals he can make? There is a line of dialogue where it says that Nove's Nen Mansion can have up to 32 entrances, so maybe that is the limit of portals he can make at one time. Maybe he can only make up to 32 portals, but let me know what you guys think. Another thing that's just interesting about the ability in general is the concept of creating Nen subspaces. We see another example of this with Chitu. When Chitu gets a new Hatsu ability, he actually creates a Nen subspace that's around the size of a baseball field field. All that being said, what makes Nove fundamentally broken is when he uses his portals as an offense ability. We see him do this when he fights a Chimera Ant. He makes a small portal and just erases this Chimera Ant's head. This is actually broken. To be completely honest with you, you can make an argument for this Hatsu ability actually being one of the strongest hacks abilities in the entire verse, because I genuinely don't know if you can block this attack. I don't know if it's something you can defend with Nen defense at all. It seems like he's literally just making a portal where this Chimera Ant's head is and then closes the portal. So I don't know if you can block that with Nen defense. It's literally just a portal, right? Nove is way stronger than most people realize. If he did not get mentally broken and was actually part of the palace invasion, there's a possibility that they would have been able to take out multiple royal guards without really any problems at all. If you combine his ability with Melioron, the ability to turn invisible, imagine what they would have been able to do. Like, imagine Melioron making Nove invisible, then they just erase Yuppie's head when he's standing on the staircase and just walk past Yuppie. Then they erase Pito's head, they erase Poof's head. They could just take out all the royal guards doing that. They might be able to take out Merwin doing that, bro. It's actually just one of the most broken abilities in the series, especially if you combine it with Melioron. Then it's just actually broken. But in a 1v1, you can still defeat him. Like, he himself says that Netero was stronger than he was, and this is also why he was afraid of the Royal Guard. If he were to fight the Royal Guard, any of them 1v1, they would just cook him. Like, ways to defeat Nove, you just have to speed blitz him. Like, if you're massively faster and massively stronger than Nove is, then you're going to beat Nove in a 1v1, but he just becomes extremely dangerous when you combine him with an ability like Melioron's, where you can turn invisible. It's just simply like one of the most broken Hatsu combinations in the story. It actually might be the most broken Hatsu combination in the story. One thing you can say to kind of defend Nove, right? Like, you can make the argument that maybe Nove was in Zetsu when he saw Poof's N, and that's why Poof's N affected him more than like Pito's N affected Killua. That is something that you can say, and it is possible because he was on like a stealth mission, so maybe he was in Zetsu when he saw it, and that's why it like had a stronger effect on him. That's possible. Yeah, it just does look very bad because he gets mentally broken by just looking at Poof's N. Meanwhile, Gon and Killua, they were directly hit by Pito's aura and were still willing to just go back and fight Pito anyway. Gon actually wanted to fight Pito 1v1 because he's just crazy. One thing you could say about Gon and Killua specifically is maybe they're not afraid of Pito's aura because they know that by the time they're adults, they'll be massively stronger than Pito anyway. This is actually just straight up shown to us by Gon's adult form. He's just so much stronger than Pito is that Pito looks like a fodder character in comparison. To people like Gon and Killua, even though Pito is strong, Pito's not so strong that they won't be able to catch up. Meanwhile, someone like Nove, he's already like either reached his prime or like very close to it. So Pito is just something way out of his range. He really has no chance of ever catching up to. So just actually a couple more things I wanted to say real quick. When Nove is like diving into the portals to go like into his Nen dimension and then pops out of the Nen dimension, it looks very similar to what Megumi does in Jujutsu Kaisen, where he like hides in his shadows. Also, the concept of him like using his Hatsu ability for storage, we actually see Megumi does that too. So for example, we see that Nove, he stores Morel's weapon, stores it in his Nen dimension, and when he's like hanging out with Morel and Netero, he just pulls this weapon out of the Nen dimension and just hands it to Morel. That's pretty similar to how Megumi would store like weapons in his shadow. I wonder if that part of Megumi's ability was inspired by Nove, because it does look very similar. Like when Megumi hides in his shadows and then pulls weapons out of the shadow, it looks very similar to how Nove hides in his Hatsu ability and pulls weapons out of the Hatsu ability. They look very similar. But yeah, that's everything I wanted to say about Nove. It does look really bad how he reacted to Poof's N, but his Hatsu ability is very broken, very strong, and very underrated. And when combined with Melioron, it might just literally be the strongest Hatsu combination in the story. I actually think it's stronger than like the manipulator needle abilities that we see that can one-shot people, because we've actually seen some limits to those. Like for example, Shalnark says like he didn't think he'd be able to pierce the armor of a peon ant with the needle, which is, you know, That's kind of crazy, but yeah, with Nove, I don't know if there's actually a limitation. Like, I don't know if you can defend against him just creating a portal and just one-shotting people with the portals. I don't know if there's a way to defend against that. It might just be an actual one-shot technique. That's everything I wanted to say. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate the views in the comments. Like and subscribe, and I'll see ya on the next one.